Our final inductee of the evening was an incredible baseball player, a Jesuit, and is still ranked amongst the top all-time players at the University of Florida. Please direct your attention to the screen as we introduce, from the class of 1993, Chuck Hazzard.
Chuck Hazzard from the class of 1993. Chuck Hazzard has the unique distinction of starting every game as a member of the varsity team all 4 years at Jesuit. During his junior season, he led the Dallas area in hitting with a .538 batting average and was named to the Dallas Morning News All-Area Team following another outstanding campaign as a senior. Recruited to play at the University of Florida, Hazzard was named first-team freshman All-American after posting a series of impressive offensive statistics. In 1996, Hazzard was selected first-team All-SEC and earned all-tournament accolades at the SEC Tournament, NCAA Regional Tournament, and the NCAA College World Series. Finishing the year with a .367 average, 18 home runs, and 67 RBI, Hazzard was selected as an NCAA All-American. Following his playing career, he enjoyed a long tenure coaching in the collegiate ranks at UNLV and Pepperdine University, as well as a 3-year stint as UNLV's Director of Baseball Operations.
I just remember having Chuck for 4 years, and each year he progressed regularly like he should, but that's what happens when you have talent.
Well, it was really unique in that both Chuck and I started on the varsity our freshman year, and we were two little freshmen playing among the big boys, and fortunately we played on the same side of the infield. On the right side, he played first base, I played second base, and so it was nice to have a fellow freshman next to me playing with me, and he was a heck of a hitter. I remember he came to Jesuit from Plano, and he came into school and he wasn't familiar with a whole lot of guys, and baseball was kind of the thing that helped bring us together and form a friendship, and it's the thing that continues to make us friends today, even though he lives a distance away. It's a bond that we have that we'll never lose.
He was one of the very few people that I felt came natural, being able to hit the ball where it was pitched, and he did a very good job at that.
One of the things neat about Chuck is what he did beyond Jesuit too, and to read about him and watch him on TV at Florida. It was really neat to see some of the things he did at Florida and really represent Jesuit in college was really fun to follow, and just a lot of pride in being able to cheer for him.
Chuck, I just want to say congratulations for joining, I think, a very elite group of people. You definitely deserve the honor, and I'm proud to have been associated with you. I could never figure out after our relationship whether I did more teaching to you or you did more teaching to me. But let's just say it was a kind of a cooperative thing that we both learned from each other. I hope that this honor is something that you will remember all your life. I know it means a lot to me. Jesuit is like my home, and I know that you feel the same way. Congratulations to you, and the best of everything, and go Rangers.
Chuck, congratulations on your induction to the Jesuit Sports Hall of Fame. I was so happy to make the call to you to give you the news because you deserve this award. I know how much it means to you, and to be able to communicate that to you and hear your excitement and joy was something I'll never forget. Playing baseball with you was something very special for 4 years on the same side of the infield. You always had my back. You were always scooping them out of the dirt whenever I needed you to. Thanks for being there. Congratulations. This is a well-deserved award.
Chuck has selected his father to present his Sports Hall of Fame blue coat. Chuck said this about his father: "My dad taught me the game and was with me every step of the way, taking me to the batting cages, coaching me until I got to high school, paying for thousands of lessons, and always being there to talk the game are just a few reasons why, when I look back on my career, I always see him. Ladies and gentlemen, Chuck Hazzard.
Mike, I'm embarrass you a little bit real quick. It's funny, he shakes my hand, he's there for the picture. When I was here, Mike was the assistant, and he was the guy nobody wanted to see. If you went to see Mike, you were in trouble. So one of my goals at Jesuit was to make sure that man never knew my name. And to be here now and you're smiling at me, that's crazy. But and I almost did it. I almost did it. My senior year, I actually, and this is a good story, and there's something stuck with me too. I was in the cafeteria, and a sophomore spit a spitball at me and hit me, and I grabbed a French fry and just fired it at the kid. And right as I did that, Mike's walking right by. I mean, who does he see? He sees me throwing. He's like, "You with me right now." So we go into his office and we sit down, and I was like, "Mr. Hurst, I'm sorry. I've never been in here before. I've never been in trouble. I really apologize." He's like, "What did you do? Why did you do that?" And I told him the exact story, and he goes, and I'll never forget this. He goes, "You know what we're trying to do here is we're trying to teach you to be a better man. Be above that. You don't have to retaliate. Be the better man. Be the bigger man. That's what we're trying to teach here." And that always stuck with me. And here I am now. Like I say, you're smiling at me. This is crazy. This is crazy. First of all, I'd like to thank the Alumni Letterman Club, the Jesuit administration, the Blue and Gold Sports Hall of Fame Selection Committee, and especially Jimbo, my man. You just to get that phone call from you. Let me tell you this. I live in Las Vegas. Okay, so it's 2 hours. It's 2 hours later here than it is there. So I'm sitting there watching TV with my wife, and my cell phone rings, and it's Jimmy. And it's 10 o'clock my time, which means it's midnight here. It's a little after midnight, and it's Jimmy, and I'm like, holy cow, what's wrong? Like, why is Jimmy, it was midweek, it was middle of the week too. It was like, why is Jimmy calling me at midnight for, right? So I answer, I was like, "Jimbo, is everything all right?" He goes, "Yeah, what do you mean?" I was like, "Dude, it's like Thursday night, it's midnight in Dallas. What are you doing calling me?" And he told me, he's like, I couldn't wait for tomorrow. I had to let you know you're going to be inducted into the Jesuit Sports Hall of Fame. I lost it. I mean, how long did we talk? At least 45 minutes, and I don't even know what I was saying after that, my man. It was to have him call me for this honor was something I'll never forget, my man. I am incredibly honored and humbled to be a member of this 2014 class. Mike, you are a two-way starter at TCU. Holy cow. Shane, Kate, I mean, the guys those football players at Florida, I mean, you played both ways. That's incredible. John, this is the craziest thing I've heard. You averaged 2 goals a game your senior year. That'd be like me going 3 for 4 with a home run every game. I mean, that's lights out. That's unbelievable. And Jaime, you have a record that stood for 30 years. 30. Think about my wife, my beautiful wife. She's gonna hate me for saying that. My wife's 30 years old. Honey, his record is as old as you. It's beyond me. You guys are incredible, and to be in the same breath as you guys are legends. It's humbling. It really is. Jesuit. It's funny whenever I get asked, "Hey, where'd you go to high school?" Like my eyes light up. I can't wait to tell them that I went here. I really can. It's the greatest thing that ever happened to me, and it almost didn't. I was a stubborn public school kid that got into Jesuit and turned it down. My parents, I have no idea why you let me do that. But I thought that I'd still have a shot to play varsity baseball in Plano, but it's only a 2-year system. And so I ended up transferring in here midway through, and so I'm behind the 8 ball twice. I wasn't a private school kid growing up, and I transferred in late, so everybody's got a head start, and my guys who are here to support me today, you know, they'd all been together forever. And the first person I met when I came here, Kerry Campbell, first day came right up to me and introduced himself and introduced me to Lowry and Frost and Leak and Jimmy, and the rest is history. And you guys took a public school kid that didn't know anybody and made him feel welcome, and that means the world to me, and you guys will forever be in my heart. Jesuit is so special because they teach you to be a better person. They teach you to think outside yourself, and the motto here, "Men for Others," is real, and it's a part of me. And what's so special about it is they make you do a service as a senior. And my service was to work at a place called Brian's House. And Brian's House was the first center in Dallas for children born with HIV. Now, when I worked there, they had not had a child live past the age of 11. And in my year there was 2 children that passed away. And it's something that's always stuck with me, because all of the opportunities and all the blessings I've had in my life, those children will never get that opportunity. And I never, ever took anything for granted, having been through that. And that's what Jesuit is, and that's what Jesuit means. And going forward, when I was at Florida, I always volunteered for community service events. And after I graduated and moved on to coach, I always made sure that every one of my players took pride in going to community service functions and tried to go to as many as they can. We try to do at least once a month. Go read to children, right? Go help in building Habitat for Humanity. Do whatever you can to give back, because there's so many people out there that don't have the opportunities that we do. I have a couple favorite baseball memories here. One of which was when I was a freshman, obviously, and making the varsity. And I would like to thank Coach Bruton for taking a chance on a 6'3", 180-pound skinny kid who had just come out of freshman basketball and barely been at tryouts. And we had another first baseman, Tommy Smith, who was a great player in his own right, and you gave me the opportunity to start. And it wasn't popular opinion, I know that, but you believed in me. And we played Duncanville our first game, and they were ranked 5th in the country. They were number 1 in the state. And I had to face Todd Ritchie, who was a second-round pick that year, and he was throwing 95 miles an hour. And he threw 4 pitches, and I heard them. Thank God they were all balls, and I walked. So that was the start of my Jesuit career. Thankfully, I got out of that unscathed, and we played Berkner the next day, which was a doubleheader. And Michael Ornelas, shortstop we played with, the kid was a vacuum cleaner, but he couldn't hit a lick. But I loved him. He came up to me and he goes, "Holy cow, we got a doubleheader today. You could really screw your batting average in a doubleheader." You know, Mike, it's a great way to boost your average in a doubleheader. You have one good day, and it's 2 games right there. And I think I went on and had like 4 hits and 2 doubles that day, and the rest was history. I was off and running. But one of the most important things to me in memorable times in my baseball career was being voted by my peers a co-captain with Jimmy Archie and Danny Lowry my senior year. It's an honor. We went through a lot of battles together, the 3 of us, and that's like you saw the picture of the 3 of us up there. It means a lot, my man. Danny, Jimmy, had a great time. Our senior year was special. It really was. There's some people I like to thank, and first and foremost, you heard what I had to say about my dad. My dad played baseball at Notre Dame, so baseball's in the blood, And he taught me at a very early age, and he taught me all the way up until high school. And I'll give you a story about my dad. So my freshman year at Florida, I'm in the middle of a 9-game hitting streak, and games 10, 11, and 12, weekend series, I stunk. I mean, I don't know how I got a hit. I 8-hopper through the hole. I mean, that was terrible, right? So I call him up after each game and tell him, Tuesday game that week, 13th game, same thing, 1 for 4, dribbled one through the right side. I call him up. He's like, hey, you got your hit? The streak's alive, positive as he always is. I said, Dad, I'm terrible right now. And he's like, well, Wednesday, go out early and hit with Coach Kling, get some early work in, and you'll feel better. So I go out, practice, same deal, call him up. I was like, Dad, I hit terrible in practice. I was awful. He's like, hey, tomorrow, same thing. Go out early, you'll get your confidence back, you'll be good. So practice comes along, again, I'm awful. Rolling over balls, terrible. I call him up afterwards, and we have a game on Friday, and he's like, how'd you do? And I was like, Dad, I was awful again. I don't know what's going on with my swing. I don't know where it is. Kling was working with me, and I just don't know. And he was like, here's what you're going to do. We always have stretch at 3 o'clock for a Friday game. He goes, at 2 o'clock, go out to the batting cage, get on a tee, and just work on balls the other way. And I was like, okay, I will. Sure enough, 2 o'clock, I walk out to the batting cage, and my dad's standing there. I go, what are you doing here? He goes, you sounded like such a baby on the phone. I had to get here and get your mind right. When I hung up the phone, I got in the car and drove here. He drove from Dallas to Florida overnight to make sure I got my head right. I think I went 10 for 14 that weekend with 4 home runs. That's my dad in the story. I love you. He'd do anything for me. If my dad was the confidence and the teaching ability, my mom, no doubt, pride of Philly, is the most competitive person I've ever met. Mike, you couldn't get around her. She blocked the hell out of you. John, if she was goalie, you ain't scoring a goal, my man. I had a bad Little League game, and 2 days later, my dad took us to Cooperstown to go see the Hall of Fame. And my mom, rode me the whole way up there. You missed this, you missed that, just competitive, right? We get to Cooperstown, they have batting cages there. In the cages, there's a fastball cage, a slider change, curveball cage. You line them up, there's every type of pitch. My mom, she said, I challenge you right now. I guarantee I can get in here and out-hit you on all these cages. She didn't beat me, but it was close. My sister, Amanda, my biggest fan. Little does she know she's my hero. I love you. My sister wasn't diagnosed with dyslexia until she was a junior in high school, and she went to Ursuline. She battled through Ursuline with an undiagnosed dyslexia. You know what she does now? She's a teacher at the Shelton School for kids with learning disabilities. You're my hero. David, my brother-in-law, you're my role model. You're an incredible husband. You're an incredible father. You're an unbelievable businessman. You're my role model, my man. I love you. There's only one person here who's seen almost as many games as my parents have. It's Lorraine O'Neill. I call her Al, Aunt Lorraine. If you've ever been to one of my games, you've probably heard the most screechy, loudest Chucky yell you've ever heard. And I can't possibly think of a success I've had in this game without hearing that. So no, whenever I look back on any success I've ever had, Lorraine, you're there. And I love you, and thank you. Sammy C., Sam Carpenter. In 2 years, I think I played 120 games for you. Sam Carpenter was my summer league coach of the Dallas Mustangs, one of the most premier teams in all of high school athletics. I mean, we went over the country, all over the country, and played at some of the best tournaments. They called our teams the Dream Team. And we were as good as it gets. And Sam, I did a lot of growing up under Sam. Some of you here know as a younger player, I was a little confident, a little arrogant, which kind of you have to be as a hitter. I mean, if you're going to fail 7 out of 10 times at something, you better be confident in what you're doing. And if you fail 7 out of 10 times, that's a good batting average. That's 300. But our first trip, we'd go, it's a travel ball team, so you go play places. Well, we're going to play up in Wichita Falls. Idiot little 17-year-old, I pull out into the soft shoulder and pass this guy. And I mean, Sam's Cherokee comes to a screeching halt in the middle of the highway. Everybody pulls over, he comes running over, and I swear to God he was going to rip the door off my car. And just let me have it, man, and just tore me up and down. Get back in the car and drive. We get out at the hotel. He comes back up to me and he goes, I don't care what was said. All I want you to do is hit now. That's over. Move on. I'm like, all right. So the very next year, now fast forward 1 year after, playing a year under Sam and learning some things, we go to Cincinnati playing a tournament. And I have to catch a doubleheader. One of our catchers got hurt. I got to catch a doubleheader in the middle of the day in Cincinnati in the summer, which I don't know if you've been in Cincinnati in the summer. It's hot and humid, like super humid. So catching a doubleheader, I'm worn out, right? We get back to the hotel and I pass out in my bed. Like 3 hours later, I get the door latched. Door slams open. I wake up. Sam's running in. I can't believe you set off fireworks in the hotel. What are you doing? Going off on me. I'm like, what? And he obviously realizes I'm asleep in the bed, right? He goes, Chuck, I want to know who blew up all these fireworks. You better have them in my room within the hour. I'm like, all right. So I get up, I go down to the hall to Ben Greaves' room, because who else would have done it? Ben, what's going on? You guys shoot off fireworks? Like, yeah, we were shooting them off and we got in trouble, so on. So what's going on? I was like, Sam just came into my room. He's out for somebody's head. And he was like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And I was like, don't worry, I'll take care of it. So I walk down to Sam's room and I knock on his door and Sam opens his door, he's still pissed. And he goes, who was it? And I go, Sam, it was me. I bought the fireworks, I shot the fireworks off. It should be me that's punished. And he said, Chuck, you obviously didn't do it. You were sleeping in your bed. You played a doubleheader. You caught you. I came to you first because you figured it out. And I go, as a leader of this team, Sam, I'm the one who shot the fireworks off. It's my responsibility. And he said, Chuck, thank you. You are a leader. I appreciate that. Go back to bed. I appreciate Sam. I learned a lot under you. I really did. And I'm honored that you're here today. Myra Adair, if anybody played baseball here in Dallas, you probably spent time at the Adair batting cages. And Steve Adair was another hitting coach of mine. And unfortunately, Steve passed away a couple years ago. And I'm touched, Myra, that you're here in his honor. He meant a lot to me. I can't tell you how many hours I spent there with you and with your husband. And I appreciate you being here on his behalf. My class of 93 brothers, the times we had together, to be honest, I feel like they should be playing the theme song of The Mission right now. How many times we heard that and everything we did? Oh, I tell you, man, I'd do anything for you guys, you know that. I love you guys. Tina, my beautiful wife. Sweetheart, you never got to see me play. You don't have to, sweetheart. You're the best home run I ever hit. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for making my life better. I love you. I'm sorry I probably went a little long. But if I can get Jaime and Mike and John to come up here with me real quick. Please come up. I want to share this with you. My college coach, Andy Lopez, who would have loved to have been here, is currently at the University of Oregon. He is the head coach of the Arizona Wildcats. I asked him one time for some advice on something that I was having trouble with. And he very simply said to me something. And I'd like for all of you now to please stand up. When I asked him for advice, he said this: "Chuck, show me who you're with, and I will tell you where you're at." Boys, here we are, the Hall of Fame, because of people like this. Thank you guys so much. God bless.